Hi, my name is Rich Schnabel, and today what I want to share with you are some proven strategies that I have used over the years and with my clients that have helped my clients to move beyond problems. So I want to give you my fundamental recipe to do that, and hoping that you'll be able to learn something from this particular video should you have a specific problem. Now, in the context of problems at the end of the day are just these opportunities that stand between us and success. And if you cannot solve a problem, therefore you cannot have success that lies beyond that problem. So what a lot of people do is they get to the problem, and because they can't work it out or they can't get beyond that problem, it remains a problem, and therefore they never get what's beyond there. In other words, they don't get to that successful point. So my point today with you is there are 4 particular ways to look at a problem in a kind of chunked up type sense. The first is the physical, which is the environment. What do we need to change in our environment that means that the problem completely disappears? The second thing is the practical, which is strategies. What steps can we use to ensure that the problem disappears or the problem dissolves? The third thing is philosophical. What models can we use that someone else having the same problem has used from a base of knowledge or experience that has helped them to get beyond the problem? And finally, the biggest area that I find as a coach that I'm working with people to get to a point of success is the psychological, the fourth point, which is very much about mindset. How do we have to think in order to get to our problems? So what I'm going to share with you is just one of these strategies to help you. And I'm going to focus on the third point, which is the philosophical. And the philosophical is looking at models. Now, models are typically people that you might consider have actually solved that problem, or if they should come to the party, there wouldn't be a problem at all. It's just they have ruled over those problems, those fears, those challenges, and they just do it seamlessly, easily. So what we can do with this insight is look at your problem and begin to look at it from another perspective. So what I mean by that is all problems are typically linear. This happens, then this happens, then this happens, and the equals or the result is the outcome or the non-outcome. So being very linear means that what we can do is we can look at the problem from another perspective, and therefore the problem might not hold its own and may in fact fall apart and diminish or dissolve altogether. In other words, let me take a metaphor. Now, rather than offending anyone in the context of religion or faith, I'm going to call the ultimate being the universe. And you can put ... Buddha, Muhammad, Allah, God, whatever you want to call the higher power, or there is no higher power. It's your higher self, for example. So what you do is you look at the problem, but not through your own eyes, because the reason that we don't often get beyond our problems is because there's so much emotion intact. And of course, that affects us psychologically, and that stops us from moving forward and out of the problem. So you take it from the perspective of someone who doesn't have the problem, and let's call it the universe. So what you begin to do is you look at the problem from a universe or a higher perspective. So it sometimes helps to close your eyes, to look at the problem, close your eyes. Now, it does take a little bit of thinking power and certainly a bit of creativity sometimes in order to completely blow the boundary conditions of a problem so it completely disappears. So how you look at this, let's say, for example, your problem is that you're stuck in your career. You're not moving any further. You just been at that position for so long, or you're stuck in your business. You're not getting to the next level in your business, or in any achievement, in your sporting achievements or your health or whatever it might be. So let's just choose one. Let's say that you've got a problem in the context of your health. You're not eating right, you've got a bunch of habits, and these patterns are causing you to put on excess weight, for example. So what you can do is look at the problem from the universe's perspective. Now, the way that you need to do this is you need to ask the question, what am I not learning in order to hold on to this problem? In other words, what would the universe get from this? So it means that you need to look at the problem, perhaps get an image of yourself overweight, begin to look at yourself and ask yourself the question, what am I not learning here? Now, that means that you're coming from someone else's perspective now. And you're starting to look at the problem in a symbolic way. You see yourself in a picture, overweight, and you ask that question, what am I failing to learn here? So imagine yourself going into the mind of the universe, Muhammad, Allah, Buddha, God, whatever you might call it, and ask, what would the universe say? And you might then get some ideas from that. And that might be that the universe might be saying, the reason that you have this challenge is because you are not valuing yourself enough. And that might shift your perspective to the degree that you might begin to think, that's true. I'm not valuing myself enough. And in fact, I'm not valuing myself in my career. I'm not valuing myself in my business. I'm not valuing myself in my friendships, etc., etc., and therefore diminishing myself. And the weight is just an outcome of that level of thinking. So therefore, you try on, what do you need to do? And maybe you move out of philosophical now to practical. What do you need to do in order to value yourself now? So you're not focusing on weight as much. You're now focusing on valuing yourself. And just simply looking at problems like that can sometimes get rid of the problems altogether, because you're looking at it from another perspective altogether. So in coaching, quite often we have a lot of people who come to us for things like they've got anxiety, or they've got depression, or they're not achieving their goals, or they're in this pattern and they want to break out of it, or they want to really grow their business or grow themselves. So what we've got to do as coaches is we often have to look at their problem from another perspective. And that's why going out and getting a coach can be very, very helpful, because sometimes when we get in our own mind, looking through our own eyes, we don't see the solution. All we're seeing is the problem. Now, there's a fundamental thing here. What you focus on expands. If you keep focusing on your problems expand. They get bigger. If you focus instead, and this is again looking from another perspective, if you focus on the solution, then your solutions expand. I hope that makes sense to you. And I hope this has been helpful to you. So look at your problems, but look at your problems from another perspective. Look at them through someone else's eyes. Look at them perhaps not from the universe. Maybe you might look at them through the eyes by imagining you're able to see the problem completely from someone else's perspective. Like, for instance, if your problem is financial, that you're not earning what you really need to earn, ask yourself the question, how would someone, let's say like Richard Branson, or Jeff Bezos, look at your situation? What would they do in your circumstance? And for example, if you want to get wealthier, there are literally 3 areas of focus. There is income, savings, and investment. Which one are you not doing? Or are you not doing 2 of them, or maybe even, God forbid, 3 of them? So think about your problems from a completely different perspective. See your problems from another vantage point, look through someone else's eyes, and you might just find that your problems completely disappear. Again, my name is Rick Schnabel. I hope this has been helpful for you. Bye for now.